Good morning and welcome. A warm welcome here from Eindhoven for another Power to Predict live stream. Today we are going to talk about AI-enabled solutions for government projects. And of course, I will not do it alone, but I will come to that in a second. First of all, let's look at some usual household rules, and you see that on the next slide. It's slightly different compared to previous sessions because today we have an extra specialty for you. AI enabled, to be honest. So if you look at your screen, it's slightly changed, and you have now the option to choose a language. So you can go below, you can click the icon. If you click the icon, you see 3 languages to choose from, either Spanish, German, or French. You select it, and you can also then go back to the little microphone, no, it's a loudspeaker icon, to be honest, where you can then either, let's say, completely mute the English conversation, or you can put it at a lower volume. Hope you enjoy it. Let us also know afterwards if you enjoyed it, because this is also for us a test run. So actually you should then hear our English conversation in the language you choose. Also rest assured, if you don't like it, you can always switch back to English. So then you can still hear us in the original tone. So for the rest, it's actually as usual for the ones that joined more often. Questions can be asked via the chat that you see in front of you, or you scan the QR code, and then you can also join per telephone. The questions will be answered either during the session or at the end during our Q&A. And in the very unlikely event that your live stream will stop, then refresh your browser, and that typically solves the problem. So then we had that out of our way. So let's now go to our guest of today, because of course I'm not the one talking here the whole day. I have brought with me 3 experts, and you see them already now on the screen, and you see 2 of them here on the stage. Anil, maybe you can introduce yourself.
Thank you, Peter. Anil is here. I'm the product marketing manager, taking care of fixed camera portfolio in EMEA, Europe, Middle East, and Africa region. And I'm happy to be here and presenting our solutions to you today.
Thank you, Anil. Philippe.
Philippe Detoni, also product market manager for EMEA, and really happy to be here with you guys.
And it's also not your first time, Philippe? So
no, it's not, but
yeah,
it's always a new challenge with each session.
That's true, that's true. And then also today we have a special guest, and I know that we have quite a big crowd from Nordics this time, so thank you guys for joining. And then probably if I now switch to the next one, Oleg, I think you are a very familiar face for the ones that are actually more working in the Nordic countries. Oleg, maybe you can also introduce yourself.
Very good morning from my side. I'm Oleg Sokolov, and already over 10 years I'm a area manager at Bosch, responsible for sales and business development of complete Bosch safety and security system portfolio. And I'm in this safety and security industry over 28 years already. And at Bosch, from the very beginning, I was involved mainly in complex multi-system projects in commercial and governmental industry, mainly like military, transportation, energy, and mission critical projects.
Thank you, Oleg, and I will be back with you in a second because we want to talk about your experiences and also the challenges that you are facing. So quickly back here to you, gentlemen. Thank you for joining, and hope we have fun today. And especially, of course, to you there in the live stream, I hope that you enjoy the content. As said, we are going to talk about our AI-enabled solutions for government projects. And of course, if we talk about government, yeah, you can think about a whole bunch of different projects. Think about correction facilities, military bases, also marine bases, embassy. So there are lots of projects. We will not cover them all, but we will give you quite a good insight of what we think we need to bring to the table to make these places safer. So, Oleg, back to you. And let's have a look at the challenges and also the requirements. So Oleg, actually now it's a very simple question. Can you share with us some experiences that you had over the last 10, 15 years when dealing with government projects? Can you give some examples of what sort of projects you ran into?
Yeah, as I have mentioned, the majority of that complex projects were related to some mission critical projects like industries like energy, transportation, and military in special. And indeed, when it comes to that kind of the industry, what is crucial and very important is to have a reliable and early detections to do the preventive measures. And in my history, I have had very complex projects related to the outdoor protection. And when it comes to the outdoor protections, we're talking about the perimeter protections. And some of them were quite an extended length perimeters, over 100 kilometers, with the total number of that such a ranges close to the 800 kilometers, and total number of the cameras up to 8,000 cameras. So you can imagine what challenges comes with such kind of the extended perimeter surveillance and protection, and we were successfully addressing such kind of challenges.
And Oleg, I'm trying to wrap my head around this. So 100 kilometers of length, that's a pretty long parameter. So you say 8,000 cameras, that's a quite decent number. Can you also give some kind of a number that you say, because you talked about challenge, what is then the challenge? Probably the number of alerts such a camera can trigger, or?
Yeah, indeed. It's not only the reliable detection, it's also the ability to withstand the false alarms and handle the number of the events coming to the security operator in the software management screen. So with our concept and solution end-to-end, we are able to deliver the stable and reliable detection first, and ability to operator to handle the alarm flow events, and sometimes it might up to 100 events per minute. So with our management system, we're addressing this as well quite successfully.
So you say 100 events per minute. So 100 events coming from all those 8,000 cameras. And is that now the normal situation, or is this something that the customers were faced with before and that we now managed to reduce?
This is always a subject of improvement. And with the latest technology we're implementing in our fascinating cameras in IVA Pro, we're improving the number of the false alarms because of the IVA Pro ability to decrease the number of the false detections rate and improve the detections ability. So with this, we are improving and giving the peace of mind to the operator at the control center by reducing the number of the false alarm and increasing the number of the real alarm that cameras are detecting on the very extended perimeter range.
So I hear you say IVA Pro. I think looking at these guys here on the stage, that's something that we will come back to. But would it be fair to say, Oleg, that the developments that we have done over the last couple of years, and also the cameras that we have been bringing to the market, would it be fair to say that we are now at a level of reliability that also people that are involved in governmental projects say now it's actually the right level of maturity of the technology that really helps me in these, let's say, challenging outdoor situations?
Not really. As you know, we always in the developing phase, we're improving our technologies as well. And the artificial intelligence, which is the subject of our today's meeting, is something we need to tackle. And we always improving this one. So by implementing some additional features, by improving our IVA technology, we're giving the customer the ability and empowering him to control the big sites, the big systems, at the same time bringing peace of mind.
Yeah.
So no hassle to the operator at the control center.
Understood. And so basically, so what you said, early detection, also reducing the strain of the operator. That's also something. Peace of mind, I hear you say. What else are you coming across when it comes to requirements?
Indeed, when it comes to the governmental industry, we are talking about the regulatory compliance. There's a very high focus on both legal base and the global certification approval guidelines requirements. It's ability to deliver end-to-end solution, ability to deliver the holistic approach on the complete concept of the system. Indeed, when it comes to the end user, the total cost of ownership plays the major role. Yeah. And from my own experience, I learned that the local vendor presence, openness to ability to speak to vendor directly, was always appreciated by the end user. So it gives us also the power to deliver our technology to the market.
So basically, Oleg, what you mean with local vendor presence is that basically us being available to our customers in the different countries, also speaking their own language.
Yeah, we're directly involved in each big projects and helping our partners and end users to create a solution and realize it at the final stage.
Now, I thank you already, Oleg, to set the scene a bit. I think we get a clearer picture with regards to the challenges and requirements that we see coming across in those projects, the governmental projects. Is there anything that you want to add?
Just to mention about the trends for the governmental industries, I see growing trends for becomes the obsession and the buzzword for the cybersecurity and all the upcoming and ongoing guidelines, for instance, NIS2. And indeed, AI is the technology that's always improving, and we're bringing this technology to the market as well. And last and not least, is indeed regulatory compliance.
Yeah, thank you, Oleg. Thank you for those for setting the scene. Please bear with us, so stay online because we need you also at the end during the Q&A. Of course, for the audience, if you already have questions that are related to what Oleg just said, Oleg is online, you drop in your questions and we can already start tackling them as we go, and otherwise we will do it at the end. I think a pretty clear picture, so maybe I will try to summarize. Because, okay, this is not staged, to be honest, but we already thought about what do we want to say today, but I think that most of the points that we see now on the screen were also touched on by Oleg. It is, of course, for you out there important that we increase the physical security, because that is a fact. You know, physical security, parameter breaches, everything that comes to it, that is focus number one. I also heard something about efficiently managing, so basically reduce the strain of an operator. I think, Philippe, that's something that you will touch on. But also reliability, I heard, you know, because I'm amazed, I'm actually impressed by 100 events per minute. Oh my God. Look at what that does with people, but also regulatory compliance and data security. Those are the things that we heard. And of course, we want to give, at the end of the day, people peace of mind. Yeah, guys, I think that Oleg set the scene. So now it's up to you two, and let's start with you, Anil, to address these points. And we are going to do that. So keep in mind these requirements, or basically challenges that we see in the market. And what we are going to tackle in the next, let's say, 40 minutes is, first of all, what we bring to the table to elevate the physical security. Already gave it away a little bit. You are going to talk, Philippe, how we keep also operations efficient and how we help you because AI or technology as such need to be able to help you. How we come to a certain resilience, but also reliability of the system, regulatory compliance, and what we bring to the table to give you peace of mind. So I think it's an interesting program. So Anil, I think there is enough to say. So let's start with the first one.
Thank you, Peter. And it was a great discussion with Oleg. I think he shared a lot of important insights about the government projects.
I agree.
And I will share more about the physical security and how can we achieve the highest physical security in government-related projects. So we can start with a site. Our physical security starts even before reaching at our site. So we create a buffer zone at a distance from our fence. It is important for early detection and to save some time in case of any incident happening. And then we have the fence itself around our facility. These two layers together, they make up our perimeter. And then we go inside. In the inside, we have the surroundings. This is different than perimeter because in this environment, we expect to see some people, some movement, or some vehicles. So we will need different requirements in this layer. And our last layer, it's the buildings, where we have the people working or storing information or critical data. We have this four-layer approach because we want to analyze the physical security requirement in a detailed way. And we do not want to miss any security gap here. So we want to handle it holistically. And Oleg quite mentioned the perimeter quite often. And I would like to start with the perimeter.
Yeah, and what he also mentioned was that what I remember is that he says early detection.
Yes,
He says also the reliability, yeah, because you don't want to have, let's say, tons of
correct.
alerts or triggers that you get, because otherwise those operators get at least exhausted at a certain point in time. So that's
Correct.
probably also something that you're going to
Yes,
zoom in on.
yes, exactly. We will talk about it. And to understand the perimeter security, what we need to discuss is the detection. And perimeter can be very different when it comes to the government projects, like you mentioned at the beginning. It can be a border between countries, or it can be the fence around a government facility. And what we expect here, our threats, our intruders, they will be smart. So we need to outsmart them. For example, in a perimeter environment, it's usually uncontrolled area. We do not have control over the climate. We cannot control the weather. Or there will be challenging lighting conditions. Or our intruders, they will try to take advantage from these challenges. They will try to crawl. They will try to hide themselves. They will try to blend with the nature. But with the latest AI capabilities, we can detect them, whatever they do. And like we mentioned, it's important to detect them at an early stage. For example, in this video right now, we see that we can detect the threats even with a distance.
Yeah, so here actually the neat part is that the person coming from out of the fence was crawling, so that was already detected.
Yes, exactly. Because if we detect them in a distance, then we can create a time to prepare and to react to them.
Yeah, so actually you're saying two things. So the one thing is the person crawling, but also crawling at a certain distance, because if it is too far away, you still want to detect it.
Yes, exactly. And then we can take measures around it. And another thing is...
But I believe you also showed something else in the video, or maybe I misunderstood the video, because I saw 3 screens next to one another. So I saw one of our cameras, because I do recognize those.
Yeah,
but there were also 2 competitors, because I believe you are also sending a different message in the sense of that we keep on detecting things at longer distances in comparison to what is also offered in the marketplace.
Yes, exactly. This is the good point you mentioned, Peter, because our cameras are very sensitive, and this is what I would like to talk in this scene. So
sensitivity, because that's also something that Oleg referred to, is important, because on the one hand side you want to trigger alerts,
yes,
but at the same time you probably also want to have a certain sensitivity or a possibility to filter different objects
yes,
in order to reduce those events, because sometimes an alarm is correct, but you don't need it.
Yeah, exactly. It is always a balance.
Yeah.
So this is the.
If you get a longer distance, you also need less cameras to cover the same,
Yeah.
let's say, perimeter.
Yeah.
Let's say.
Yeah, exactly.
So
That's
that's
in the
also a
long
good
range
point.
detection. So that would then be good at a certain point in time for the cost, the total cost, then at the end of the day.
Project, yeah.
But also, indeed, I think that's also what I took also a little bit away from Oleg, is that we always talk about false alerts and we want to reduce, but at the end of the day, you also just said it, you want to detect anything that is around your parameter. And let's be honest, everything that then moves in first instance would be correct. The only thing is there are some things that are moving around the parameter that you don't feel to be relevant.
Correct. It is always a balance in
Yeah.
the end. It's always a trade-off. You will have a high sensitivity. It will bring the high false alarms, but you don't want to miss any alarm either. So it always depends on the use cases.
And now we're looking at, because you explain, of course, the picture.
Yeah,
so
exactly. This is one of the interesting pictures that our team is currently working on, and we are really proud of our IVA Pro perimeter analytics. It's the best in the market.
But
of
it
course,
can be better.
Exactly. We are not just staying there.
Yeah.
Our team, they are working hard to push the boundaries in video analytics, and they are committed to make the unseen seen. When I see this video for the first time, I really didn't understand what's happening there. It took for me to watch it a couple of times.
I'm also one of them. Yeah.
And we are, as a human, we are good at picking up the people in the scene. But in this one, it was really difficult for me to understand what's going on. But with our new analytics, with the new upgrades, we will be able to detect them, even if our intruders are trying to hide or blend in the nature with a distance.
Yeah, so what you're here showing, so basically on the right-hand side, that is what we currently have from a technology point of view. So also there, even, because if I'm looking at the screen and I'm also on a relatively close distance to the screen, I can hardly distinguish what is happening there, but still our current solution picks it up because it's also classifying it as a person. But what I find then impressive is that on the left-hand side, it's even detected earlier, and that is probably also what you want to say.
Exactly. Detecting 2 seconds early can really make a difference. How can we make this difference? For example, we can add an audio in our perimeter protection.
Yeah.
We can detect the threats or potential threats when they are still in the buffer zone, and we can play an audio message against them. Probably this will scare them,
Yeah.
and then they will run away, so that we can deter the possible threats before they become a real threat. And adding an audio intervention to the perimeter security, it's very powerful practice.
Yeah. So basically, Big Brother's watching you. Maybe that scares them off. You never know.
Yeah. Exactly.
One thing, because there's one question coming in here, Anil, is that we just showed long-range detection. I think that people really watched the video because they saw something mentioned about 120 meters.
Yeah.
And actually, the audience wants to know if the 120-meter detection is at a certain camera height. Is that something that we
Yes, it is. It is always depends on the height and the angle.
Yeah.
And it depends on the requirement. So usually in the perimeter applications, we would like to have the camera maybe around 5 meters above from the ground, and we would like to see some horizon in the scene, not too much the scene, but the analytics should understand the ground.
But probably it's also because typically you know that we are following up those sessions with a thank you mail, but also a summary of what we have been telling you. And I think we can also put that information in there. So the 120 meter, what is the height that basically then also comes along?
This wasn't just an example. I mean, it always depends on the situation and the site.
Thank you for answering. So please continue.
Yeah. And the next layer is the surroundings. Here we are talking about the controlled environment, but not fully controlled environment. Let's say partially controlled environment. Still, we cannot control the weather because still we are in the outside, but we can control the people inside our perimeter, or we can control the lighting conditions there. What we would like to achieve in this...
And you call it third layer because you say, okay, the first 2 layers were the virtual one, the parameter.
Exactly.
So basically now we have already a person that was able to, let's say, get through the
Get
first
through
2.
the fence, yes.
So now he's in the middle. So basically, okay.
We threat the external threats.
Yeah.
But we also would like to understand what is going on in our campus.
Yes.
And in order to do this, we need to first detect the objects. And then we need to classify them. What are they? And in the last situation, we need to understand the relations between the objects. And if we understand the interplay between the objects, we can have the situational awareness in our campus or in our surroundings. And once we have the situational awareness, we can make informed decisions. We can understand what's going on. Or we can protect our sensitive areas without disturbing the crowd. So what I mean is, we can create virtual zones. We can keep eyes on those virtual zones. We do not disturb any crowd. We do not give any message. We do not make any physical disturbance in the environment, but we still make sure that those sensitive areas are well protected.
And if you talk about relationship, maybe I'm asking dumb questions here, but if you talk about the relationship between objects, is it then correct to state that you say, okay, listen, I have a virtual zone, and typically the virtual zone is a zone that I want to, like say, extra protect. So if a person has been classified as a person, is walking into the zone or actually moves away from that zone, that is then the relationship between 2 objects, because the one object being the virtual zone and the other object the person, and based on their relationship, so the behavior, you need to trigger an alert or not.
Yes, correctly. For example, in this example, we have a line and we have the zone. So we know in which direction the object is moving, what are they doing. Maybe this person just needed to make a turnaround. It was a problem there, and he just came and leave. It's okay. We don't want to get an alarm in this situation. But if this person spends some time around there, then it can be a potential threat. So we would like to distinguish these differences. And we do not want to get the unrelevant alarms, but we want to detect it.
So that is all basically triggered by the AI. So basically the AI interprets the video footage and gives you additional information.
Exactly. And the cool thing is that we can always retrieve this data later.
And that's something I believe you're going to touch on.
I'm going to show that.
Okay, good.
And if I move to the last layer, which is the building, this is fully controlled area. We can control the climate, we can control the lighting, and we can control the people in the buildings. And it may sound easy, but it's not easy when it comes to government projects. because there are very different government buildings. It can be a museum, it can be a town hall, it can be a hospital, police station, prison, a lot of different things. And all of them has different needs, and we need to fulfill their requirements, even if they have different needs. And how can we achieve this? We are offering them a versatile hardware options. For example, imagine microdome, very small, sleek camera form factor. It's quite popular when it comes to the building solutions because it's small, it doesn't disturb the people. But if you want to cover the large area with that small camera, you can do it. Or you can even see the multiple floors in the stairs in this example. Or when you want to see more details on your target, yes, you can do it. You have the telelens option.
Yeah.
It depends on your needs. And the good thing is that all of our new portfolio comes with the latest AI capabilities. Then what does it mean for the customer? I'm talking about the technical terms, but if we translate it into the daily language, it will give you power to have an actionable insight all around your buildings from every camera you have. You can detect the people, you can understand where they are going, you can measure the occupancy. If there is a loitering, you can understand all those things, and you can make.
But basically, also
decisions.
what you're saying here then is that the technology actually now works for you. So basically, the life of the operator, security operator, becomes also easier because he has now actionable insights to look at instead of,
Exactly.
let's say, watching video.
Yes, exactly. Now they will have the overall situational awareness, and they can optimize their operations.
Yeah.
This was the versatile hardware options we talk about, but we also have very special hardware only designed for government projects. This corner camera, with its special form factor, it minimizes the possibility of self-harm in a cell. And the important point is you will also have the full control over the closed area. There will not be any blind spot. So this is the power of versatile hardware options and having specific options for the government vertical. And if I would like to summarize the whole thing, we handle the physical security concept in the government projects in layered approach. So with the 4-layer, we can analyze the scene, we can understand the needs, and we can optimize the solution for their needs. Remember, your threats will be smart, but you can be smarter.
And what you're saying, Anil, so we bring 4 layers to the table. It's not so much, if I understood you correctly, that those of course you have different, let's say then, levels of defense, you could say. But it is actually a little bit twofold because what you're also saying, you have working hours, you have, let's say, outside of working hours. So actually we give you a complete, and I believe Oleg said, holistic approach, a complete
Correct.
holistic approach that gives you day and night. You know, also when you expect or not expect certain movement, you will always have actual insights in and around your buildings, in the surroundings, and also alongside your parameter.
Yes. Thank you, Peter, for this amazing
Thank
summary.
you.
Summary.
So, thank you, Anil. We will definitely come back to that. We already promised, and also Oleg was saying it, 100 events per minute. Oh my God, it's quite a strain, Philippe,
Yes.
that you put on the operators. But I believe there you have something there where our smart software could help.
Exactly. So what we then need to have to build that together with the cameras, with the smart cameras we have, is also the rest of the system, right? You want to treat those events, you want to use that data. And that comes to increase the operational efficiency and make it also in a simple way. So what we see, imagine that the cameras and the metadata the cameras is generating can be either to use it as a real-time, let's say, for example, alarming, to then be proactive, avoiding that one event is becoming an incident, or either maybe that data is going also to our storage, to do the recordings. That also helps maybe later that you make a faster investigation out of that data. So it means all in all, we can bring predictive solution combining the camera, the hardware plus the software side. We can also quick and in an automated way react to those events. and as well efficient investigate that threats or issues that were happening in the past.
Yeah, and
So-
Philippe, I think you say one important thing, and that's maybe also good for our audience to know, is that I think we are now witnessing, and Oleg said it, AI, I still hear him repeat it. And he says it with a reason, because I think we are also on the verge of changing from video surveillance, traditional video surveillance, to what we would call visual intelligence, because it's not so much on the video footage anymore. It's more about what actually the video footage tells you. So it's more the actionable insights that you call them, Anil. Is that correct?
Exactly. Imagine that there are, let's say, hundreds of cameras, and the operators, they cannot stay looking to all of them at the same time. But with the help of the AI, you can really then bring to the operator the most relevant, let's say, and possible critical cases,
Sounds
like the blottering, for instance. And then from there, the operator takes that thing and see if it's really something critical.
I think this is the change over the time, what we are seeing. For example, before, your camera systems would be, with 10, 20, let's say 50 cameras. But right now, Oleg mentioned about 8,000 cameras. Each of them are recording thousands of hours. It's impossible for an operator to analyze it.
Indeed. Thank God we have AI then. Huh?
Yes.
We have AI, and also you need as well, let's say, a management system and easy to use, where you can receive all those events and also have prioritization between those events, because sometimes maybe you receive multiples at the same time. Which one you look first? That's what we can bring with our VMS, our BVMS. You can manage all the priorities. You can really have in an intuitive way that maybe a map is supporting the operator to know where that event is coming from. You can receive events from different locations. We're talking about sometimes one site, but imagine maybe for governmental, let's say, projects, maybe we have multiple sites and one central location receiving and monitoring everything. So you definitely need to make use of that. And as well, something I want to bring here that's quite interesting and unique. We can, in our solution, even change the permissions of the users based on some critical events. Imagine maybe normal situation, the operators do not have access to some specific cameras, because maybe that critical areas, they should not see what is happening there most of the time. But if there is someone in the building, a possible threat, then based on an event, we can change the permissions in a way that these operators can then really look to all cameras, making sure that we treat that case as soon as possible.
So what you're saying is that, first of all, the system helps you in prioritizing. So
Definitely.
you get lots of events. We already do the trick with AI, so we already filter them. But then there are still a lot of events that need to take care of. So the system helps you in prioritizing that. But now you make an interesting point by saying, hold on, but we also have taken care of authorization levels. So typically, you would not be able to watch everything. We only, let's say, disclose information at the point in time that it becomes critical. So that's also taking care of privacy.
Definitely, indeed. So let's see how that works. So we call it threat level management. It's a feature in our solution. And I brought this video for you guys. You see the operator is now seeing some cameras. He's trying to drag and drop the camera number 60 and as well the 73, but there is no, let's say, access. He has no rights to see those cameras. So, but what is going to happen next? Imagine that one event, you're going to see in the bottom of the image, the event is coming. One unauthorized person was entering in a restrict area, but that is changing the game, right? Then the operator needs to see what's going on there. And by accepting the event, the client will receive new, let's say, authorizations. That operator will get permission to see those cameras that usually he is not able to see. And now you're going to see that he is going to drag and drop some of those cameras that was, let's say, not allowed to see before. And indeed, he will be able to see that video. So it's quite an interesting one, and can work either to give access to certain cameras or even remove access of the operators for some specific areas.
Sensitive areas could be, prison cells, or could be a server room.
Could be exactly, maybe a server room, or could be maybe an area that usually a lot of people working there, and usually you do not want to monitor people working, but if there is a real threat,
Yeah, you have to see.
happening,
Yeah.
then it's the operator needs to see to help on avoid further damage.
And is it then
there.
also, Felipe, after the event has been taken care of, that then the system switches back to the original author?
Definitely.
Okay.
That can be done by
Yeah.
the administrator, and even started by the administrator.
Yeah.
We have all
Okay.
flexibility how to start this threat level management.
Nice.
But we talk about be proactive, but sometimes some systems are not, let's say, only about that. You sometimes have some issues that happen, I don't know, 2 days ago, and then the operator usually needs to go to the recorder,
Yeah.
video, goes to the playback, and spend a lot of hours there. But we also bring an interesting tool called forensic search that we can do across multiple cameras that will actually speed up the time and that the operator will spend,
Yeah.
let's say, investigating those issues. And that's as well what I brought here in a video. If you see, this is a whole timeline. Could be like a 1 day or multiple days of video. You can select that whole thing, or maybe just the whole, let's say, night video, and then you select I want to search a person or persons in all those cameras, and the system is bringing what you see on the timeline in the bottom is some white parts. This is all, let's say, moments that the system was detecting based on the data that the camera provided to us in the system, people, and then you can start to easily go to the most relevant video footage. Otherwise, you need to watch that thing, for hours, and that's really, really a lot of time.
But you make it sound easy, but I think that's also a little bit what Anil was trying to give away, is that actually AI already did the magic. So it was already labeling, classifying, and giving extra information to the video footage, and now
we're making use of that thing,
Yes.
getting that data that was coming from the camera, having that data in the storage, and make use of identifying it's a person, it's a vehicle, or something.
Exactly.
Making sure the operator is looking to the most relevant thing instead of watching hours of videos.
You know, Felipe, how I imagine this forensic search capabilities? I think about it as a time travel. So going
Time
back
travel,
in time.
okay,
Yes,
yeah.
yes. Because we talk about actionable insights.
Yeah.
How do you do the actionable insight? You create your rules and then maybe you automate some certain things. But you cannot imagine every scenario. You cannot create alarm for everything.
Correct.
So with this forensic search, you can travel back in time.
Yeah.
You can create your rule, and you can still have the actionable insight back in the future.
So actually, they were not that wrong in the movies.
Oh,
Okay,
and you
the
watch
movies
too
are
much
becoming real
movies,
now.
you watch too much movies.
But
Yeah.
indeed.
And
But hey,
then-
that's our business, video. So
Exactly. Yeah, you can also do that. We showing a simple video here, but you can maybe select specific color for your object. That also maybe differentiates people, a specific suspect versus other people. And the next, let's say, develops, we also gonna bring more attributes to the data, making sure you can search, for example, for a person with a backpack. So making even more specific what you're looking for.
No, but I think Anil makes a very nice point, because we are setting up rules. You want to have AI work for you in a certain way, but indeed you can't think about, because you said it at the beginning. Your intruders are typically smart, so we need to outsmart them. So sometimes they are a little bit smarter at that point in time, so you don't even know that you had an issue. And that could already happen 2 days ago, or maybe a month ago. So then it's easy to look back, and then you basically recalibrate your system that next time you are prepared if people would do the same thing.
You did again, Peter. Very nice summary.
Thank you.
Good one.
I'm only here for summarizing. But you don't. You didn't even only make me enthusiastic about the whole threat level management. There are some questions coming in. So Felipe, in regards to the changing of the permissions within BVMS, is that a standard feature?
Yes, you have it for let's say all the latest versions. So started with BVMS 12.
Yeah.
So if you have, let's say, that version or further, you can make use of the feature.
Yeah. So it is a yes, but it depends on which version you have.
Indeed.
And
Indeed.
otherwise, you first of all need to upgrade to the latest version, and then
That's
you have
correct.
it as a standard. Another question. Let's stick to that topic. So the threat level. So will the threat level management have different levels of threat? So because the audience now thinks about, they can see different threat levels. There is something that has maybe priority 1, 2, 3. Can you then also, let's say, change the authorization settings accordingly?
Definitely. You can create multiple levels, and depending on how critical they are,
Yeah.
maybe you can, and then you define for that, let's say, user groups that they will gain or
Okay.
lose access to specific
So
cameras.
basically, you can create different user groups. So
Yep.
based on the threat, if it is a, let's say, minor threat, then you are not giving everyone permission.
Exactly.
But okay,
If it's a big one, really critical, then everybody
thank you. I
gets.
think that clarifies the question.
Perfect. So then we jump to the other part of the presentation, the
The resilience, the reliability.
So it's
But now you are going to show magic. You told me before.
okay. Yeah, it's coming the best slide, the one I like the most.
Save the best for last, huh?
Exactly. So you have, let's say, the operation part, but this all needs to be also built on top of a really good ecosystem. So it means we need to have all the components up and running to make sure that the operator can use that we can use all the data. So, and that comes to the system itself to make it really as much as possible resilient,
Yeah.
as much as possible reliable and available.
Because that last point, that is actually very important, because you can
Yeah,
have great
also
technology,
like
but if
mention
it is
about
not,
that,
yeah,
right?
if it is not
if it's not
available,
there, then you
yeah.
cannot use it.
Yeah.
And for that, I brought this slide, Peter, that you really like.
This is a surprise. I couldn't have predicted that white slide. So
empty one.
So we are at the end of the whole live stream now.
No, not exactly.
Okay.
This one will take maybe half an hour to explain, but I'll try to do it.
I can tell you that's the time
we
you
do
don't
not
have.
Okay, let's jump into it. Idea here, I would like to build with you participants how we create a design or basic design for a really reliable and available and resilient system. So let's build together. Let's imagine you have a project, you need to monitor a city hall with a failover recording, meaning if your first storage stops, you want to record in a different one. You also need local and remote monitoring. So how you do it? You have your cameras, connect your cameras to your network. Here I suggest maybe our DVRIP 7000 family that can go up to 156 cameras. And you then have, of course, a client, what we call it our software operator client. The first interesting thing with our solution, the way we build, is that the stream of the video is always from the camera to the client. Most of the brands, they use it going to the storage, to the recorder, the NVR, and then to the client. But this sometimes creates some delays. You're not getting sometimes the real-time image.
Yes.
And also, if you lose that NVR, maybe you're not going to get that video in the client.
Or maybe extra
Exactly. In
strain
our
on the
case,
bandwidth.
yeah, in our case, we actually trying to remove the single point of fail. But this is not the only thing we do. And to actually have a failover recording, you cannot do it with only one device. And that's why I bring here maybe 3 devices. The system will actually automatically divide the cameras in 3 groups. And it will also load balance all the data from the camera, the video throughput to the 3, let's say, storages we have, making sure that the data is distributed in a load balance way. So who is configured, there is no need to do that.
And that's a choice
manually.
you can make. So basically,
you can
one
define,
or you take multiple.
Exactly.
But the advantage of having multiple is then if one of those recorders
and
fails,
that's
then
exactly the point.
One.
If one of those are failing, then actually that group 3 of cameras that was previously in the 3rd, let's say, storage, is going to record on the other 2 devices automatically without any need of the operator or anyone touch that thing. So but this is really creating the failover capability redundancy solution. Failing? Well, if the second one is failing, it depends if the first one can manage all of the data. But if yes, all the cameras also can go to one specific storage. But then we need to see if the throughput of the system allows.
The amount of data that needs to be stored.
Exactly. So let's have a look. As I said, sometimes a lot of projects require remote monitoring, and indeed you can do that with our solution, and you can then have multiple sites from different kind of sizes. And that's maybe one way to do kind of redundancy, to make sure you always have, let's say, your data recordings available. But if we have even more critical case, let's imagine this regional office, but there the requirements is a little bit different. I want to have really dual recording 2 places at the same time, to make sure that I have
you don't miss
gaps
anything.
Really. So you can do the same. Have, let's say, one of our DVRIP solutions there. and then the recording will be locally in that site, but you can also enable the dual recording maybe in a different location to make sure that even something's happening really critical, it's fire on the building, everything is destroyed in the
You
in
still
the
have
site,
your backup.
you still have your backup maybe there in the remote location. So that's the way we can build some examples, right? A really reliable and available solution. That's not only that. Let's go to something that it's more simple to apply, but it's actually available in all our cameras. I would say it's a kind of hidden feature that not much.
A hidden gem.
Yeah, exactly. Most of the vendors, they use UDP to record the video footage from the camera. So the camera streams video to the recorder. If there is any interruption or short interruption between the camera and that archive or that NVR, then you lose that time. That makes sense, right?
And that's gone.
That's gone, because maybe if it's 5 seconds, then you lose 5 seconds of video.
That's just the point in time that someone cuts the fans
exactly,
or
Usually it always happens.
critical moment. But the way we do actually, in case we have a failing, we have some failing, let's say in our connection, the camera will stay buffering that video footage, the recordings, on the run, on its run.
Yeah.
And this camera, and what I'm showing that in this example is without any SD card, any let's say really local recording in the camera. The camera is recording the run, and once establish the connection again with the storage, that video footage is then transferred back to the storage. So it's really interesting one, because for short disconnections, maybe something was happening with the network, maybe you were repatching the switch, then this will not actually result in loss of video.
And is that true for every single camera?
For all the Bosch cameras, the latest ones.
Exactly.
I cannot tell, maybe for 10 years
okay,
old camera, but yes,
the current
our current portfolio, you can trust this is there. So it happens completely automatic. People even don't know that this is happening, but even so, this is a way that we actually protect the video evidence for, let's say,
in case, for whatever reason, the connection between the camera and the NVR breaks.
Exactly, and without any SD cards, guys. That's what it's really there. You can also use the SD card, then you get longer, let's say, recordings locally. But in this case, it's without anything. The camera is using its own, let's say, run.
But that's a great talk, Felipe. But I would say, show us.
Show. Yes, let's see. That's why we brought this small setup here. So what we brought to show you guys that live, it's here we have one camera, and this green cable, it's going to PoE injector, and the red cable is going to the switch to the rest of the system and bringing the video footage to the storage. So, and what I want to show you is actually I will interrupt the connection with the storage, and the camera will be still with energy. It's still, let's say, running, but without the connection. So you most probably can see the, let's say, the interface of our client, the operator client. This is the live image. Let's go to the playback, and then let's go to the timeline. Really, as you can see, this green part is the video that we have. And if I actually remove the cable for some seconds, so now I'm removing that cable, and you see it's here on my hands, and then I connect the cable again. You see that we have, let's say, the green part, it stopped for some time, and now it should come back once we have the connection back. Sometimes takes a bit of some minutes. Yeah, you see here now. Let's play this, and I started here. Then now what you see is quite interesting, right? The camera and the cable is not connected. The camera was recording on the run, and now once I put it back, you see also the timer. It's going complete, so we were not losing any, let's say, seconds of evidence. So that's the way we do it, and it's automatically happen in the without everybody knew it. That's why I say it's a hidden feature.
The hidden gem. Okay, thanks. We need to speed up a little bit, but there are some questions regarding this. So So now you triggered them. I think you proved it, but there is one question. So, but I think you already more or less answered it. So we don't need SD cards anymore.
No SD card. But it's for a short interruption, right? It's
Exactly.
not going to stay there for 1 hour. So if you need that, then you need the SD card.
Exactly. So basically, if you have shorter interruptions, is there any time of timing?
We usually say it's for some seconds. It depends on how the run of the camera is busy. So it depends also how many events you get. By the way, talking about events, that's not only for the recording, but it's also for the events. If one event's happening on that 10 seconds that, let's say, we had a disconnection, that's also buffered and will be sent once the connection is back.
So a little bit depending on the conditions, but we can fairly say that if you have longer time, so if you want to, let's say, cover minutes or
then it's better go with SD card.
Then you would also need an additional SD card. Does this buffering also work with third-party NVR, so not necessarily with our DVRs?
No, that it's a specific way we do the recording using our video recording manager. So the engine is then working with BVMS with our VMS.
So the RAM buffering is not working with a third-party.
As far as I know, not.
Another thing it was about the dual recording. So if you talk about dual recording, is it the same stream or are we using different streams to facilitate the dual recording?
We use, you can use, let's say, different qualities. For example, if you want to use different qualities, then you use 2 different streams. But you can also mirror, let's say, the recording use.
So either different streams or you take the same one and you split
and then you have the same quality in both locations.
Thank you for the efficiency. Thank you for the resilience and also the availability of the system. I think that pretty much everything can happen and the system is still available, which is of course important if you are working on mission critical type of projects. But there was something else about regulatory compliance, and I think that's also something that you want to address.
Exactly. So let's go for the focus area number 4. And as Oleg and everybody mentioned, we also need to make sure that all of that is somehow protected and compliant with regulations. And we start, for example, with some measures we have for the cybersecurity side. I brought just some of those. There are much more. But just to be quickly, for instance, we use future-proof secured element or trusted platform model, call it also as TPM, where it's a kind of chip that goes to our hardware and it let's say stores let's say the most critical information like password, like key certificates, act as a safe to make sure that even the camera is, let's say, stolen, you're not able to get that information because that could be a way to get into your system. Always remember, guys, the camera is also sometimes installed outside of the security area, outside of the perimeter.
Outside of the perimeter, yes.
And it's also then if you get that thing, you can and then try. It's a point to go inside of your system. So that's all, let's say, quite safe. We have embedded firewall. We have all kind of password policies to make sure that you really include passwords, because I remember in the past people were not using password at all, but also strong passwords to make sure you cannot break it easily. TLS minimum 1.2, we can make sure that we have a minimal version and making sure that you always have your communication encrypted and safe. And as well, simple basic measures like the software is, let's say, not letting the configuration open to avoid someone is going there and change it. And last but not least, cybersecurity certificate. So we always
and I think that is the main thing, Felipe, because of course we can throw every single measure to the table, but I think it's most important that our portfolio, and you can also check it online in our product catalog, etc. So basically our cameras are being certified, and that basically means that either IEC or UL has simply tested it and basically certified us that we do the things in the right way in order to be as cyber resilient as possible.
Indeed, that's really one of our pillars. Really treat that serious cybersecurity point.
And there is another worry, there are those government guys worrying about something else.
They need it. So we're not. Let's just like that stuck, right? We keep looking on all needs, and we hear from the market now NIST 2, for instance, in Europe, and European Union. So we are really working to have everything set to make sure that the customers, let's say, using our systems, they can comply with that. Their organizations can comply with that. And as well as Cyber Resilience Act, the same, that our, let's say, processes to develop product, they also treat serious all the cybersecurity needs.
But I also think that here it's important to mention that yes, NIS2 and the Cyber Resilience Act is being discussed a lot at the moment in the marketplace, but there is no reason to act necessarily because it is not impacting our video security industry. Because and that's also where we need to make sure that we guide our customers. That it's probably even more important to look at those certificates that you have certified products. Instead of and what this new law will also mean at a certain point in time for our video security industry, that we will have to figure out. But if that time comes, we will be prepared.
Ready. Yeah, and as well, we also bring also NDA compliant portfolio for some customers that required that, and that's a bit some of the examples the way we comply with the regulations and needs for the governmental, let's say, projects. And last but not least, for the privacy part, is also maybe we talk about privacy and we usually think about the data, but the video part is also data. And here we see one example how you can, in a private way or taking in consideration the privacy of people, still monitor one situation. So what you just saw was, let's say, people being monitored, but they are, let's say, blurred. So you cannot recognize who is that person.
So basically placing this in a government environment, and you showed a picture earlier, if I now imagine a prison cell, I can still basically
see what is happening.
See what's happening with the inmate, but I will not invade his privacy.
Exactly, that's the way, but still can give the direction, hey, he's using a blue shirt and keep, let's say, the security needs.
Yes.
But that's another example now in an external environment. And if you see, this is a PTZ camera. The camera is moving. And even that's happening, this feature in our software, it still monitors and blurs that object. That's based on AI. It's happening in the client and make sure, let's say, that you always have that person's blurred. Another quick example, even if you have a fast moving object like this one, it stays there. So that's really good and interesting one. With that said,
regulatory compliance, an NDAA compliant portfolio, which is of course important for people in government. That's also what we are faced with. But also still, you can secure people, you can secure facilities, also taking care of the privacy.
Definitely.
Yeah, then I think, Neil, I have to look at you because there was also something mentioned by Oleg when it comes to peace of mind. There are a couple of things that you want to stress there, what we do in order to give peace of mind.
Yes, exactly, Peter. And I think peace of mind should be simple. So I will keep it very simple.
Yeah, you have to.
Yes. when I told my family that I will join Bosch, they had peace of mind.
Okay.
Because they knew the Bosch, they knew the quality. We already had Bosch devices at home, has been used for a really long time. And we already had Bosch in our home as well, in our country as well. So almost all over the world, in every country, we have some Bosch representative. So we can speak their language and we can always support them. So I think this is the peace of mind that if my family doesn't worry about me, then you can use our video systems with peace of mind as well.
That's a good example.
Yeah, we have still only 2 minutes left. So what I would suggest is that we also had, the guys were talking, they are very enthusiastic. I feel that we can go on for another hour, but that's something that we will not do. And I suggest that we skip the poll for now and look into some of the questions that we are getting in. So also, I believe that Oleg is also back online. So I would like to take the last, let's say, roughly 2 minutes to look into some questions. If you look at and there they are coming. So the parameter, if you are talking about weather conditions, for example, fog, in that case, should we increase the number of cameras?
No, we don't need to increase the number of cameras, but we can use adaptive solution. For example, we can support the visual cameras with the thermal solutions. So thermal solutions, they are not impacted by the fog or similar weather conditions.
Okay. And yeah, I think there is someone that is very familiar already with our portfolio, because all the AI that we showed today, and we try to stay a little bit away of all those fancy terms and product titles,
Okay.
etc. But they want to know if the AI that we showed, if that is all sitting in the 5000 series or the 5100, I think, to be exactly correct.
Yes, exactly. For example, the videos I showed in the building part, they are all from the 3000 series. So 3000, 5000, 7000, all of our new portfolio has the latest AI capabilities.
Yeah, and I think if we specifically talk about the parameter, then it's a slightly different
Yes, for
part.
perimeter, it's included with the 7000 series, and you can upgrade 5000 series to perimeter protection.
So yeah, and now they're coming in. If we are talking about AI, etc. And rest assured, if the questions are coming in and we can't answer them actually already now, then we will come back to you later on when we are following up. Let's do one question and then we finalize this. Is there a date? So you just talked about increasing the sensitivity of our IVA Pro parameter. Is there already an estimation of when this would be available for the market?
Yeah, we will see it in the second half of the year, so in couple of months.
Okay, so yeah, a couple of months from now. Yeah, thank you guys here on the stage. Oleg, also to you back there in Sweden. Thanks for joining. Thanks you guys for all the hard work, and especially also a special thanks for you joining. Unfortunately, we were not able to cover all the questions, but rest assured we are going to answer those questions in our follow-up. I hope that I can see you also next time, and before you, let's say, switch off your laptop or let's say close this live stream, maybe you can also tell us what you thought about it, and maybe if you have some special comments about this, let's say, extra feature that we had with the languages, then let us know. Thank you for joining, thank you for watching, thanks to the speakers, and see you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.